And I unfortunately think that being that overconfident as a player, even if it's just in a low competition, but that probably does represent how he plays the game of Big
Mhm.
Brother. And that's going to be so dangerous for him moving forward when you're not double checking yourself, you're not second guessing your work, you're not being careful about the conversations you're having with people because you just know for a fact that you have it in the bag. I think that could get him in trouble, and I think this was the first glimpse of that we saw. Welcome to the Secret Alliance podcast,
Where we talk about the game of Big Brother with the people who play it, like Hannah Chada and Jason Guy. And I don't know. At some point today, we may go into the nether regions.
Wait,
All
let me
these little things with our virtual background, so it looks like we're in the diary room. We've been having way too much fun before we got this podcast started. So let's talk about on the Secret Alliance where things stand, and we're going to hit on a secret, as they said during the Eviction Live show, a secret relationship. I think that was like, are they not going to say Secret Alliance? Just it's
Yeah.
like it is. It's a secret alliance that's happening in the house, but we'll kind of back up and rewind it. There's a lot to discuss, but we had Kirsten's eviction, and even before that, the veto ceremony leading up to it. And Hannah, it was something that you had a little bit to discuss.
Yeah, so, I can't even remember who exactly got picked for veto. I think it was, well, it was definitely Kirsten, Riley, and, Felicia, so the nominees in the HOH, and then Cameron, I believe, got picked,
And
uh,
Heisman.
Hisam got picked. Don't quite remember the last person who got picked, but, it was this weird atomic wedgie contraption where they were dressed in ridiculous camper outfits, and they were hooked up to this harness, and they had to assemble these, they had to stack these puzzle pieces, and, every once in a while, the harness would, like, I guess, give them a wedgie and
Yeah.
hoist them up
I
into
mean,
the
this
air.
is what comes out of the BB multiverse when you're in the Humillaverse.
Yes, but
It was
honestly,
humiliating.
that's just Big Brother, like, our I'm almost embarrassed to tell people I was on Big Brother just because, I mean, you tell people it's this very intricate social experiment,
Right. Right.
you peel back your onion layers, you find out who you are at your core when money's being dangled in front of you, it's a game of ethics and moral codes, and then you turn on the TV and you
They're
watch.
getting atomic wedgies. Yes. This
Exactly.
is what's in primetime TV,
This
folks.
is Big Brother. I have nothing else to say besides this is Big Brother. And, of course, we have Hisam win the first veto of the season, and it should be noted that he came in second place for the first HOH, and then he ended up winning the veto. So it's seeming like Hisam is emerging as a competitive threat, and we'll
Yeah.
touch on that a bit
Yeah, we've
later.
got some spoilers that I think further even peel that onion. It's
Right.
it's
That just
really interesting to know what's happened in the last few days. So
Yes.
we've got some feed spoilers, so that's all ahead. So let's talk about Kirsten. She got evicted 13-0. Do you think that at some point, and maybe this is part of what we ask her if we get to talk to her, those interviews have been delayed. We don't really know why. So we're like, mystery. But because some information was given to her about things that were happening in the house, I felt like we're not going to see her come back. Julie told her about that secret relationship, or I prefer to call it a secret alliance that happens with Sari and her son.
Yeah.
Um, so that made me think she's gone. It's over for her game.
Yeah, I think so too. She's also been on social media. She's been on Twitter interacting with fans and viewers of the show. So I think that would be very compromising if they were to bring her back. I mean, maybe
Unless they
they'll.
go back to Big Brother 3, that's how we lived on
Oh,
our season when people got
yeah,
evicted.
yeah. But hopefully they
It
don't do
won't
it like
happen
that.
now.
Maybe they'll bring back pre-jury to like host a competition, but I think they're done playing the game.
Yeah.
Although going back to the vote, America was the only person on the family style side of the house, AKA the Young Alliance, the Gen Z Alliance, who was like, wait a second, why are we getting rid of Kirsten? Because I don't really understand unanimous votes. I don't think that one person leaving can equally benefit everyone in the house.
Mhm.
Of course, for Felicia's side of the house, the older alliance, what are they called? The
The
professors.
professors.
Keeping Felicia made sense. Felicia is part of their group, but Felicia isn't working with family style, the younger side of the house. And a couple people walked up to Riley's HOH room and exposed her whole alliance. And no one's going to do that if they don't have the numbers to back them up, which
Yeah.
means Riley should have been able to safely assume that the entire other side of the house is now working together. And so, why are you getting rid of a free agent who's going to be indebted to you? Why wouldn't you want to weaken that side of the house? So, that's
Okay.
something where I was like, okay, America's the only one who's like processing things analytically. The
Hmm.
rest of them, I don't know what they're doing. But I have never laughed harder than when Riley, Heisam, and Izzy marched into Riley's HOH room and they were like, yeah, so anyway, you're working with this person, this person, this person, and this person, and that doesn't include me, and I'm coming after you, and you're coming after me. I was like, this is old school BB, and I love it. I
Okay,
love
you're here for it.
yes, yes. Like the level of being unfiltered and being uncensored and the straight shooting. I do love the covert gameplay that modern day seasons rely on more. But sometimes, just as a viewer who wants to enjoy these characters, it's nice when they're like, Jason, I'm coming after you. If you don't win, you're going home.
Yeah, it is fun to watch. Like that makes the game exciting where it's not just somebody floating by trying to stay under the radar. And I do know when I was doing things in the casting world, how the producers don't love that stuff. I never worked on Big Brother. That was always going to be a conflict of interest. But some of these other shows, they didn't want people to come in and do that. They want people to play the game. And so I gotta say, we got to cast, as you mentioned, they're doing that and bringing some good drama to the show. I want to touch on this alliance that I love, the
Yeah.
professors. So they're as as Felicia said, taking the kids to school. Now, the thing that's interesting is Cerie's in the Professors Alliance, but what they don't know is that her son is in this game, and so this alliance threatens her son's game. So I think that there comes a point where she obviously is going to be more loyal to her son, I believe, but if he keeps talking, she may have to cut him loose. And that brings me to the eviction and Kirsten saying, when Julie revealed that, oh, yeah, Jared did mention they have this nickname for me and my family. And then she went, and Cirie had said her son's nickname is the same thing. And I went, oh, no, like this will be another conversation Cirie has with her son when it gets back. And it will. She will find out about it. And she goes, stop talking. And I do love her saying, like, stop talking.
Yeah. It very much reminds me of like the relationship that I had with Tiffany. I know Tiffany is not my mother by any means. She's more of like an older sister, but in that house we did very much have like a maternal daughter like relationship. And
Yeah.
she'd always be like, Hannah, stop talking. Hannah, zip it, go to the kitchen, make yourself some rice, go to the bathroom, do your makeup, but don't give these people anything to work with.
Right.
Um, but I think it's only a matter of time before the house guests start connecting the dots because I mean, going back to our first weeks in the house, yes, you do start bonding with your house guests or with your fellow housemates, but you don't really get to know them because there are still so many people left. But as the cast weans off and you spend more one-on-one time with people and the hours pass, you really get to learn about people's families and their friends
Yeah.
and where they're from. And unfortunately, there's only so much you can hide.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the dots are gonna start connecting, plus they have the
Very.
same face. And
I did.
you study that
You
memory
look
wall.
at them and you go, how are these two people not related? Yeah. I
Exactly.
didn't even mean to do this, but there are dots on this. And so this is symbolism for people are going to be connecting the dots.
Connecting them, yeah. Exactly. So I think it's only a matter of time before they do or before Izzy slips up because Izzy
Yeah.
also has very loose lips. And at
Yes.
that point, I think Suri and Jared will just be done.
And Suri is trying to calm Izzy down. And she said that. She's like, I've got to calm Izzy because Izzy's excitable. And that's where it's going to lead to trouble because all of a sudden you got this excited and he was, oh, I want to tell this, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden makes an alliance with someone else, and in the moment, and just that gusto of, I'm going to tell you a secret so you trust me, and then the cat's out of the bag, and it's going to spread like wildfire. I'm surprised that it hasn't, in just this short amount of time, less than 2 full weeks, less than 14 days in the house, that I'm surprised it hasn't spread.
Me too, but also this is a 100-day season and we're not even on day 14 yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are still 86 more days, and I definitely think that their secret will be unearthed by then.
A long 86 days ahead for those house guests. Okay, so we've also had some secret relationship there with a little showmance happening. That will it won't be. I don't know. I've seen this. I thought it was cute. We've seen a little bit of the feeds and the hammock talks and all that, but I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. But there's some Matt and Riley showmance brewing. What say you about all of this? And we don't even have to get too far into spoilers yet. But do you like this? Do you think it's bad for one or both games?
Oh, I definitely think it's bad for their games. I think right now their side of the house, and we'll get into this, but their side of the house is in a very vulnerable position, and so you don't want a potential showmance adding to your threat level, adding to people wanting to send you home.
Mm-hmm.
And I also just don't like showmances.
I know you've said this, and
Brendan.
no holds barred with Rachel Riley, who we love, and who's going to be back, we think, at some point on the Secret Alliance when she reveals whatever secret thing she's doing and in life. But I do understand the danger of that, and I see why people say, you start playing for somebody else, and that's where I also am watching this game, this current season, a little bit differently, because even though Danielle and I were rock solid on season 3 of Big Brother, I knew, there could always be in the back of my mind, like, I could get cut. Or Danielle could allow a situation where I get cut because it's better for her game. And on your season, watching the cookout, you guys stayed tight, but there were a couple of moments where it was like, oh no, is this going to fall apart? Is somebody going to allow somebody from the cookout to be cut? And then I'm looking at 25 and I'm going, is Cirie, if Jared becomes a liability, going to allow a member of the Professor's Alliance, or whatever alliance it is, 5, 10, 25 days down the line, to cut him? Or is she going to fight harder for him than she even fights for herself? I don't know. I don't know how you reconcile that. I couldn't do it to my own kid, but I also go, I'm like, Cirie's like, he'll forgive me when I split the prize.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think it would probably depend on how close they are to the end game. I've never seen any of Cirie's seasons of Survivor, so I'm not exactly familiar with how she plays, but I did watch her on Traders, and she was very cutthroat. So I could see it going both ways. I think if they're like right at that end game, then
Oh yeah,
yeah, she
them in
might
the
cut him.
final 2 chairs. She wants to win against her
Yeah.
son.
And well, listen, if it's really close to the end, she might be like, I'll cut you, but also like half of this money is gonna go into your account because I support you. Hello, I'm your mom.
Yeah.
Um, or she might be like, she might pull a Rachel and Brendan, where Brendan in season 13 won the veto, but chose to use it on Rachel because he felt like Rachel would have a better chance of winning the whole season. So I could see that happening too. I think it just depends on where we're at in the game.
I don't think at this moment with his gameplay, Jared has done enough things. And I know we're not even 2 weeks in, but I want a little more from him. I'm watching some of these relationships that Cirie's building, and I know last time I was like, she'll never win this game. And then I'm watching, I was like, oh, she's pulled in some really strong players, and likable. I don't know that Felicia's going to win any comps, but she's so likable, and I think people like that, and they're going to be drawn to somebody being kind of mom, and she's funny too, so there's going to be humor. Heisem's a comp beast, and
Yeah.
he's part of this, and I go, okay, there are some people in here who really may make this a strong alliance for a number of different reasons, some for comps, some for social gain. And so then I go, oh, okay. And then I look and I see, I was like, Jared, I don't know that even what you're doing right now has been big strategic moves. And it's early, I get it, but I'm like, man, Sari, without playing hard, has done some really good things for her game.
Yeah, no, I just can't, like, she has her Professor's Alliance. She has the Brown Sugar Babes with Nicole and Felicia. She has a final two with Felicia. But in addition to being close to that side of the house, she really seems to have a great handle on Corey. She seems
Mm-hmm.
to have a great handle on Riley, on Matt, on I'm definitely missing some people from the other side.
Yeah, it's a big cast right now with six.
Yeah.
What is it? Are we 17 house guests? I can't.
I think they're at
Well,
18 now.
we're okay. Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
yes, and we'll talk about that. But we started out at 17. We've
Yes.
had two house guests leave,
Mhm.
but it's hard to keep track of everybody. And there are some episodes where you go, oh, you'll see them sitting on the couch. And you go, oh, we didn't even see these two or three people. But let me just say, on my season, I remember I made it final three on season 3 of Big Brother. And so I remember my grandfather saying, early on, I never saw you on the show. And
Yeah.
and so don't count out these people who you don't see right now. Producers were not following that Danielle and I had made an alliance day
Mm.
2, yet within 48 hours of being in the house. We told them about when we did this, and they were like, oh, really? And they went to the footage. I don't think they had it. I don't think they had the tape.
Oh,
And so
no.
there were things like that they weren't following. We weren't as big a personality. We weren't as loud. We hadn't won all the comps yet.
Yeah.
And so we were a little bit of a slow burn. And this is a marathon. Big
Mhm.
Brother, especially a 100-day season. This is not out of the gate, you go sprinting.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, but just the fact that Suri not only has this alliance of 7 backing her, but Jared's her son, so Jared has, 100% undeniable loyalty to her, and then Corey's on feeds calling Suri, like, his closest ally or his second closest ally, and you have Matt, who feels very close to Suri, Riley, who feels very close to Suri. So she just has a really good handle on the people she needs to have a handle on.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed. I don't know why these people aren't looking at her with blinkers more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
if somebody gets power, it's like, why don't you go after her right away? Because if you let her go to the end, she might actually win this game. And so it's interesting as a watcher, but I really like her and I'm really rooting for her.
Me too. Me too.
Hey,
Her
you
and
oh well, I'm sorry, and I don't
her
want to
and
interrupt.
Felicia.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think Felicia is so her heart seems kind. She's funny. The falling into the hot tub, and I love it. And it's now been they've replayed it on the show.
Mhm.
I haven't caught it on the feeds, but I'll definitely be looking for it because it won't
Mm.
be the last time. On the live show, you brought up just a minute ago Corey, and on the live show. When he was voting, he said Beaches-ac. And
Yeah.
so is that what he said? And so I was going to you because you know of Corey's brother from Survivor fame, and I guess have met Corey. Can you give us a little insight on that? I was like, as soon as I saw that on the Thursday Night Live show during voting, I was like, I have to ask Hannah's insight on what did Corey say or mean, or do we know?
Yeah, so Zach was on Survivor 42 and he was eliminated first. So by him voting and saying beach Zach, that simply meant I made it past week 1.
Yeah. See, that's what I believed to have happened, but I wasn't 100% sure. I really feel bad for Corey's brother though to be the first one out, and I feel for Kirsten because it's a tough position. I remember on my season just saying I just don't want to be the first evicted, and then I feel like after that point I started really trying to play the game for the end, but it was just like. Please don't. I don't want to be the first out. I'll hold the door for everybody going in. I will take the crummy bed. We had a cot on our season. I was like, that's fine. I don't get a bed. I'll sleep on the cot. If I
Mhm.
need to be a have not or whatever, like whatever it takes. Just I don't want to go week 1 because then I've got some time to figure some stuff out. And that's unfortunately for Kirsten, no time to figure out this game.
Yeah. It's a really tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
I wish her well. I hope
Well, she
her experience wasn't too traumatizing, and I hope
Yeah.
that we eventually get to talk to her.
And I do too, because I need to know what she was wearing, what the scent is. Like
Yeah,
everyone in America wants to know. If Julie Chen says you smell good, I think
right?
we're all wondering,
What does
she
that
could
mean?
she
Yeah.
could have a perfume line to come out of this. I don't know.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do remember on Over the Top, they talked about that was a digital season, and I don't think it's anywhere to be found, but I loved it because all the comps you got to watch online, everything was streaming, and it was 5 nights a week, about a 20 to 25-minute episode. And it was just mostly the live feed highlights chopped together. They weren't produced, it didn't have big music. And so it felt like a lot more of a live feed oriented show. And I say all that to talk about Justin from that season, because he talked about how good he smelled. Like everybody would be like, he smells so good. And he talked about he had these oils, and they were like for his body and for his hair, and they were like, you smell different today, but it's even better than yet, And so
Oh,
I was
no.
always like, what does this guy do?
Yeah, no,
So
I'm very curious about Kirsten too. I wanna know if it's like a lotion, if it's a perfume, if
yeah,
it's like hair product. I'm
we want to
curious.
know your lotions and potions. But Kirsten can feel good as yes, first evictee, but not the first to leave this season. That's why we were talking when we talk about numbers 15, and kind of got to turn it to a serious note here, because something has happened that I really had high hopes for 25 seasons into the show, that this
Mm.
wasn't going to be something that we had to deal with. Julie told us on the live Thursday show that Luke broke the BB code of conduct, and then we saw some of what happened there on the episode.
Yeah. Well, when I got the notification that, for those of you who don't know, Luke, one of the house guests from this season, was expelled from the game because he used the N word, which is obviously a derogatory term of hate speech directed towards Black people in this country. Um, when I first saw the clip and got the notification on Twitter, I had to watch it several times because I couldn't even hear where he said the word. That's how nonchalantly and casually it just, like, fell into his vernacular. So that right there was strange, like, okay, you must use this on a daily basis back home, and why? Like, there's absolutely no reason for you to be using that word regardless of the context. You're not Black, it's not your prerogative to decide when it's appropriate and when it isn't appropriate to use. So that was the first thing that was just jarring to me. And then in the aftermath, he kind of laughed it off. He tried to play it off like that's not what he said, but then he owned it and he was like, well, I mean, Jared, you're not even that upset. So I don't understand why Corey and Heisem were giving me faces. And Jared was like, I don't know what to do. That's crazy. Can we change the subject? And I feel for Jared in the sense that if I were in that situation, I don't know how I would have reacted. I would have definitely been caught off guard because it's been 25 seasons of the show. We're in the year 2023. We're 3 years out from BLM, where we sort of experienced like a collective social justice awakening. We're 2 years out from BB23, the season of the cookout. Hello, why are we still being so culturally insensitive here? Um, and Jared was probably like, I don't want to do anything or say anything that'll make me look like an aggressor or like the bad guy in this situation, even though
Mhm.
I haven't done anything wrong. I don't want anything to affect my game or my mom's game. But then I sort of felt like CBS took that and made him like the spokesperson for all Black people ever, where he was like, oh, well, my friends from home are kind of like Luke. So whatever, I give him a pass. Like, wish you well, hope you learn. And I just felt like that was minimizing and diminishing the gravity of the situation. But nevertheless, I'm glad that CBS took action and expelled Luke very hastily. I mean, it took not even 24 hours for CBS to be like, Luke's gone, don't you worry. So that was good to see, but also just the way it was portrayed in the episode was a little like, mm,
Well, and I'll let everybody in, because you and I texted for the last few days sort of about this, and then before we started, uh, we were on the podcast. We were talking about it, and that was what I said. I thought it was going to be on the Wednesday night episode, and it wasn't. And then I thought it would be a bigger part of Thursday's episode, and it was a couple of minute segment, no different than a joke thing when we get too farther in the game and Felicia falls in the pool a bunch of times and that becomes a bit, and they do a comedy thing. So I did feel like it deserved a little bit more to discuss it, but I also know because there were so few people in the room for it, and it was just a hard thing to explain to everybody. And and I didn't know that Jared's level of comfort with it, and so it was people couldn't really comment on it if they were called into the diary room because they weren't in the conversation. So I do understand from a producing standpoint, it was kind of tricky to cover and handle, but I feel like it's a huge issue, and as you said, I feel like it's really disappointing that we're at this place in 2023 where you feel like we've moved forward, and then here we are back again. And I really had high hopes for this cast. And I will say this, and I just, I said, we brought up Luke on the first episode, and I was like, don't be Florida man, or something on those lines, just being silly. Like, don't disappoint us all, because I feel like you're cavalier, and this is still jokey, and maybe that he was a recruit. I don't know the status of it. And then here we were, I feel like let down as fans of the show, as people trying to be good humans. It's like my job as a parent is not to make my kids like me. That's a bonus if they do one day, but I'm trying to teach them that in our family, you have responsibilities. And if you don't unload the dishwasher, then you're letting us down, and all of these things. And if you don't treat each other with kindness, and if you don't do the things that we've asked you to do in the home with joy, then you're not contributing like you should to this world. And if we're not kind to one another, and we don't use positive words, and if we don't watch what we say and how we say it and all of those things. So I just, as somebody trying to raise good humans, you're like, oh, come on, man, be better. And that's, I guess, what we hope from that is that if to all of us, it makes us look at ourselves and go, how do I become a better version of myself? And then that, I hope Luke grows from this. And I don't know, for future house guests, will somebody learn? It seems like we've had too many seasons lately that have been, had troublesome parts.
Right. I mean, we can certainly hope so. But I am glad that at least they removed him, and now that won't have ramifications on the game,
Yeah,
because if you think back to BB24, they
that's
still
what I
left
was thinking.
Kyle in the game.
Yeah,
And
I thought that they might do that for this first eviction, and it would have definitely changed some dynamics and how the whole multiverse was playing out.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, when you granted, BB23 was a very racialized season, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing. So I'm not one to say I don't appreciate when social issues intersect with the game, and you kind of leave it
No,
up to the house guests to hold people accountable using the game. Um, but yeah, I'm just glad that they handled it differently from the Kyle situation.
yeah. Okay,
Mm,
well, that's good, and I'm glad we touched on it. And I really appreciate, Hannah, your insight and weighing in. And I'm going. I don't know. This was my take on it. I don't know how to read this,
mm.
but I do want us all. Come on, let's be better. All right,
Yeah,
in this
right.
world, and
What should we say?
show love and respect, and all of these other things flow out of that. I mean,
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know. Is that a crazy thought that we could just be kind to everybody and respect everybody, and
I mean,
the
it's
world would be a
funny.
good place?
It sounds crazier and crazier, but it should
It
be so
shouldn't.
simple. Just respect one another,
Yeah.
hold one another in the highest regard with the utmost dignity. I think that's a fair expectation.
And not understanding something about someone else is part of life. We are all learning, we are all growing, and so to have these conversations, like you said, on some of the seasons that have been really powerful. I think back to a conversation that we heard years and years ago that Kaser had, and other conversations where we learn about faiths, we learn about people's backgrounds and origins and race, and it's making us better, I think, and we're learning more. You come in and you think you want to see a reality show and people getting atomic wedgies, and we can learn, and those kinds of things are good with those conversations. But I just want the house guests to learn, like how do we, we check everybody out before, we put them on national TV, yet one, but also on the live feeds. Like you're on that 24/7, and I don't know. I was bummed that this happened, very disappointed. But now I do hope we can move on, and that the house is a better place, and the game, where we stand now.
Yeah, same. And I hope that the house guests of color and the black house guests, namely, are okay. We didn't really get to see how the rest of them processed the Luke
Yeah,
situation. And yeah, so I hope that that didn't shake them too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to where things stand now. So we had Luke being booted, we've
Mhm.
had Kirsten being evicted, and
Mhm.
now we go into the nether region. And I gotta say, my my littlest now let her watch a couple of the episodes. I don't know if
Yeah.
bad parenting at 11 to get her into Big Brother, but she was like, nether region. She's like, that reminds me of like your hiney.
Oh my gosh.
So now I can't watch it without laughing.
Yeah, no, I wonder why they're using that word.
It's not a good word.
Even Brittany Haynes was like, "Are we not gonna talk about the fact that it's called the
The
Nether Region?"
nether region. Yes. Yeah. Those are like words you use on commercials for products where you can't talk about where they do their work, you know?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
anyway, we met in the nether region, the nether gorgon, and as a huge fan of Stranger Things, I love what they're doing, and they're leaning into this. I feel like it is very much this. We have this upside down. They've got the multiverse, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, all this stuff. So I appreciate all of this. The nether gorgon, though, I'm like, are the Duffy brothers going to come? Come calling and
Right.
saying, Duffer Brothers, sorry, Duffer Brothers, is they're going to say it's a little too close.
Well,
I don't
because
know, but
oh,
I'm
sorry.
pumped. I'm pumped about Stranger Things references. I'm going to go to Halloween Horror Nights on both coasts because they're doing the haunted house there at Universal in Orlando and Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I got
No, no,
sidetracked there, but it was
I
all in my wheelhouse, all that kind of craziness. Yeah.
too love Halloween. I love all things that are scary. I love the serial masked killers. But because of the writers and the actors strike, Big Brother now has to carry television and film.
Yeah. They're creating,
They had them
drama, and horror has had a really good year.
Mhm.
There have been some amazing horror films that have done really well at the box office, and so I think they're leaning into that. Plus, we are getting September, October. We're going to see,
Yeah.
I think, some of this stuff in the nether region.
Ay,
It's going to continue on, I would think, for maybe 4 weeks, and
yeah.
then maybe we move into one of the other multiverse aspects. Or do you think we'll do this all season long?
No, I don't think so. I think this is just like a pre-jury twist, and I think for like the first 4 weeks of the season, each week is gonna be from a different verse. So like last week was Scramble verse, this week Scary verse, maybe next week will be Humillaverse, maybe the week after will be Comic verse. And then I don't think we'll have anything in week 5. And then week 6 is when I believe they're gonna introduce a whole new twist.
Yeah.
But no, they had them acting in this competition. They had them looking scared. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is they should be getting paid more."
Yeah. Yeah, well, but they're reality, so there's
This
it's
just went
it's
from
non-union. That's why I do think that there might be, if this strike continues on, another season that we get in the winter months, and maybe it's a shortened season, maybe it's the legend season that we've joked about or talked about before, maybe it's a all winners, and it's a month long. Who knows? And they could put the contestants in the house, it not be on the live feeds, and film over the course of a month and stretch it out over 12 weeks, which would give them a lot more time of programming. Because that's, you think about Survivor, I think it's even now less than 39 days, but back season one, 39 days, and it would still have a 12 to 14-week run.
yeah.
So I don't know. That's just me kind of dreaming that, we could have more Big Brother on the way and some really cool season. So let's talk about the whole thing with the Nether Gorgon. It
Mhm.
took some people and then sent them back into the Big Brother house. And then our final two contestants, we had Jared and Heisem. And they had to solve some clues and then sort of figure out which door to walk through. And we're going to give you a spoiler now. We have our new HOH. Pause it, turn away, turn down the volume if you don't want to know. But Jared thought he figured out the clues, but he did not. It was Hytham. Unbelievable. This guy, so second place in the first HOH. He won the first veto. Now he is our second HOH.
Yeah.
And there's more. But let's talk about where we stand at the HOH, Hannah.
Well, what's interesting is Hytham didn't even, he says this in his post HOH comp interview, that he didn't even want to win. He accidentally won because Jared got first pick, he got second pick. So he just kind of stumbled onto HOH. And as far as Jared's concerned, Jared didn't even take the time to look through the clues. He saw the number 4 in a previous round and just said, okay, I'm going to go with the door that starts with a 4. Jared was celebrating 10 seconds into the round. He thought he had it in the bag. And I unfortunately think that being that overconfident as a player, even if it's just in a low competition, but that probably does represent how he plays the game of Big Brother. And that's going to be so dangerous for him moving forward when you're not double checking yourself, you're not second guessing your work, you're not being careful about the conversations you're having with people because you just know for a fact that you have it in the bag. I think that could get him in trouble, and I think this was the first glimpse of that we saw. So I was like, "Ooh, okay."
Yeah.
It gotta reel it in, gotta maybe, like, check yourself a bit better.
Well, and that's what his mom is going to do. She's going to call him on some of these things.
But anyway, Jared gets trapped in the nether region and not get to go back to the house.
But it was a short-lived entrapment there in the nether region.
I think it lasted a day. So right after the competition, he was on that screen and he just said like, "Hi house guests, I'm trapped in the nether region. I'll see you guys soon." That was pretty much the gist of what he told them. And then by the next day he was back and revealed that he would get the power to send somebody else into the nether region, but that person, because they wouldn't be there for the nomination ceremony, would get safety for the week. So this is where things get crazy in the house because Jared's like, "Ooh, okay. Who do I give safety to? Who is Hytham targeting? Do I go against Hytham? Do I not go against Hytham?" And Hytham, sh the most unhinged HOH I have seen in recent seasons. Everyone who
Well, for
watched,
this early in the game. Yeah.
but still one of the most unhinged, just off the handle HOHs that I have seen since for a very, very long time, maybe since like season 14. Because people are coming up to Hytham and Hytham's going, "Yeah, so my 3 targets are Riley, Matt, and Cameron. I'm thinking of putting Riley next to Cameron, but if one of them comes down, then I'm definitely putting up Matt. And, if Matt somehow gets safety, then I don't know. I don't really like this person, but I told Jag, he's good with me. I told Blue, she's good with me. So maybe I'll have to put up like a Corey or something." He was really just spilling all the beans to everybody, including Jared. And so Hyson made it very clear that since Riley was potentially coming after him last week, he wants to come after her this week. And that's kind of where we're at because Jared's close to Riley. So Jared might be inclined to save her. But because Hysam's like, "No, that's my target. And I'm telling you, don't touch her, don't touch Matt, and don't touch Cameron because those are my plans A, B, and C." Jared's like, "Ooh, okay, I don't want to go against the HOH because I'm not safe for the week. I'm still in jeopardy and I don't want Hysam throwing me up." So he goes to his mom, and Cerie's like, "Your best bet might just be to save Jag because Jag's still on your side of the house.
Yeah.
So it's not like people would be suspicious of you, but you would still be respecting Hysam's wishes."
Yeah. So, and again, we're going to give you some more of the spoilers here. So it comes to nominations, and Hysom says, "I'm putting up Riley," which felt like no surprise. I got a little bit worried as the time was playing out because of this showmance that we've seen forming between Riley and Matt. And I do think Matt is a likable guy. I don't see him necessarily winning this game. I don't know. I think he's still trying to figure out how to play the game. That's just my assessment right now. But I think he's likable enough by the house guests. But so I thought it was going to end up being Riley and Matt, but turns out Heisem nominated, and again, a spoiler here, Riley and Cameron, who I think is really likable, especially his teammates. So I think he is safe at that point if the nominations didn't change.
Yeah, well, I think the reason why he did Cameron and not Matt is because Suri and Izzy and Felicia are closer to Matt. And so in the event that Riley wins the veto, they would rather have Cameron be the one sent out the door over Matt because they don't have Cameron, whereas they do have Matt. So Heisem in that regard was like, listen, my target's Riley. I don't care who she's sitting next to. You guys pick, but she's going home. Like, it's so funny to me. So funny. But I mean, should we give spoilers about who wins the veto?
Yes, we're spoiling it all over the place here. If you missed some of the episodes on TV or you've missed the feeds, yeah, we've got to go with the POV because this is where we started talking about Heisem as a competitor, and here it goes. So Hannah, tell us what happened with POV.
So I again do not know exactly who got picked, but it was 5 members of Family Style versus Heisem, and Heisem ends up winning the veto. So this is Heisem's 3rd comp win in 2 weeks, and the only comp that he lost, he came in 2nd place for. It's
So,
giving Michael Bruner from BB24, it's giving Derek X from BB23. So I don't think his chances in this game are they're looking grim right
yeah,
now.
I
Yeah.
agree. I think one thing that may help him is that he is aligned with Sari because I think she's going to do some of her magic. And I think she's going to be able to talk to other contestants and help them see why we need to keep him for a little while longer. But I do know that she will, at the point where she decides, now I need to get him cut because maybe I can't beat him in a competition or something, then I think she's going to cut him. But at this point, she needs him for comp safety and she needs comp beast because I don't know that Sari is going to win some of the competitions that turn into the endurance comps. Like I know I'm not going to win those games if I went in there. I would hope the professors would ask me to be in their alliance. I feel like as I'm watching at home, I'm like, okay, these are my people. This will be my alliance. This is where I fit
Oh
in,
my gosh.
where I am in life at my age, in my now late 40s. I'm like, I'm not winning when it comes to these athletes and these guys who are at tip top shape in their 20s, early 30s. Like it's not happening. So I know you have somebody like Heisem who is still in that group, but he's the comp beast. And every time I feel like we see him have a conversation on the show, he's on a piece of equipment in the gym. Like he's just nonstop.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about that is Sari, Felicia, and Izzy are actually all looking to target Heisem next week.
Oh.
And it's
See, I see
Nicole.
that's something that I don't know.
That's something that just unfolded today because
Okay.
the veto ceremony was today. And so Heisem
Yes.
left nominations the same. And so
Yes.
now,
So everything is staying. So we know Riley Cameron's staying on the block. So Thursday night we'll see that live eviction, and we'll talk about who we think is going to go in just a minute.
yeah, but Sari, Felicia, and Izzy are now looking at getting rid of Heisem, as is Family Style. So it seems like Heisem is the collective target for next week,
Okay.
and everyone's on the same page in terms of we have to backdoor him, so we can't put
Yeah.
him up early.
And I feel like I had seen some discussion with Cole, maybe Izzy, saying that they needed to get rid of him, but I didn't realize that it was going to happen among the professors.
Well, Nicole is the only person in the professors, to my knowledge, who is pushing for them to keep Heisem
Okay.
around a bit longer because they're going to need his manpower. Like you get rid of Heisem, and like you said, with those athletic competitions, Family Style will probably dominate because you have
Mm-hmm.
Matt, who's an Olympic swimmer. You have, well, I don't know if Riley's staying, but Riley said that she has an athletic background, and Jag seems like he's really well built, and Jared's fit, and Corey's fit too. So, yeah, I don't know about getting rid of Heisem in the 3rd week.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to
It
bode well.
it doesn't, in my mind, make sense for the professors, but I also get hearing some of the stuff that's just unfolding right now. It's like maybe it does, and maybe I need to hear these conversations and see some of these things. We've heard some talk back and forth, and that's what we're going to likely see on Wednesday's episode is, do we keep Matt? Do we keep Riley? What's going to happen with the veto? And because it stayed the same as we've given you all these spoilers, this has been all about the spoilers here.
Yeah.
It does look like at this point, and I know it's still days away from the vote that happens live on Thursday night. Anything could change, but it does look like the House is in favor of saying goodbye to Riley to not make any big waves.
Mhm.
Do you think that's a good move for the House as a whole and for some of the players you're really rooting for in this game?
I think for Suri and Felicia, because Riley really trusts them, it would probably be in their best interest to keep Riley.
Mhm.
I know Cameron is close to Red, who's in the professor, so I would be kind of worried about that. But then by the same token, do you want to keep a budding showmance in the house between Matt and Riley? They could really be a powerhouse duo like a Rachel and a Brendan, where they just keep winning these physical comps back to back to back. So there are pros and cons for keeping each of them around and evicting each of them. And I also think it just depends on the individual relationships that people have with them. For family style, I think Riley would be better to keep just because Riley is probably more capable of winning comps. She seems competitive, she doesn't seem scared, she's fit. Um, and then for yeah, Suri and Felicia, they should probably keep Riley too.
All
So
right,
they
so
can
it does on paper make sense to keep her, but for some reason they're saying, well, we're going to keep Cameron. But there's a lot that could happen. And
yeah,
that's where I think this stuff gets really fun for us
yeah,
watching the feeds and following this game is that can Riley make some kind of move that turns it all around for her game? Because we had 13 votes this past week, so now you're talking 12 votes, and the if it's a tie, the HOH is the deciding vote. So
mm,
Heisem's going to get rid of Riley because that's his target. So she'll need to secure 7 votes, and you start going, well, is that possible? Hey, Suri, Felicia, can they make this happen? And then what is? I think the big thing that Suri's going to look at is what are the repercussions? What is the fallout? If she makes that kind of decision, it goes against the HOH and her alliance member.
yeah. Listen, I would not want Hisam on my bad side by any
Yeah.
means. So I
Mm.
think she's scared of that. But if Riley is able to convince Suri to keep her, then that is all she would need really because Riley already has Jag, she's close to Blue, she's close to Matt. That's 3 votes. As long as she can convince Suri, Suri can convince Felicia, can convince Izzy, and I
I think
think
Jared.
except I don't think she knows how close Jared and Suri are, but it does seem like Jared would vote for Riley if she had the votes. So it's almost
Yeah,
like you get Suri and Suri gets her people and you're good as gold. But Riley was talking to Suri, I think it was on Saturday before the veto, or maybe it was Sunday right after the veto was played. And Suri was like, okay, I am considering keeping you, but you really can't tell anybody. And Riley was like, okay, goes back to her whole alliance, tells them all. It gets back to Suri because Jared's like, yeah, she's told all of us. And Suri's like, okay, well, now I can't vote to keep her because I don't trust her. And it's going to get back to Hisam, and Hisam's going to be mad at me. And then the
mhm.
professors might have to disband. So if Riley could have just listened to Suri and held it in, I think she could have pulled it off, but now I don't know. She's going to have to find another angle to get to Suri. But that's just a testament to how good of a game Suri is playing and how embedded she is within the social dynamics of the house. She is the kingpin of it all, despite her being a 4-time Survivor legend. That would be like Danielle Reyes or Vanessa Russo or Tiffany Mitchell walking into Survivor and then being like, oh, yeah, let's keep them around. Sorry,
Yeah.
Tiffany. What?
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I think there's a lot of great stuff that we're going to be able to watch and see unfold over the next couple of days. But if I have to pin you down, and we'll talk about this after the fact, what do you say for the finale, not finale? No, I'm moving us way 80 something days ahead for Thursday's live eviction. Who do you think is going to go, and kind of give me the percentage of certainty? And I will tell you, I'll start. But I think I really do, especially even workshopping it here, and how I think it could hurt Cerie's game. And she goes, "It's week 2. Like, it's not worth saving one vote right now when I lose somebody like Heisem." So I think for that reason, Riley goes. There may be a few rogue votes and people trying to save her, but I don't think it goes beyond 6 and a tiebreaker. But I don't think it's even going to be that close. So I think Riley's out Thursday night.
Yeah, I think because Riley just started talking too much. She's lost Cerie, which means she's lost Felicia, Izzy, and the rest of the professors effectively. I think she still has Jag, Blue, and Matt. However, with Corey, America, and Jared, who are kind of on the periphery of family style, if I were them, I'd be thinking, okay, like, yeah, Riley can win competitions for me, for us, for this group. But if Riley gets taken out when she was the person who started this alliance, she's the ringleader, does that mean I can now occupy her niche? Does that mean I can, like, wiggle my way in a bit more because there's going to be that gaping hole? So I don't think Corey, America, and Jared are going to end up keeping Riley, which means I think she's going to go home and, like, vote of 9-3, maybe 8-4.
Yeah, I think there will be a couple of votes. I can't put my hands on exactly how that's going to go down. But yeah, I think this is a just easy week to go. Okay, Riley's out, and let's move on and figure out how all of these twists with the nether region will unfold, because I think that's still something that we don't completely understand. Like, what does this mean for Jag? Does now his safety, preclude him from being able to compete in the next HOH, or is he just back in the game and it's normal?
I think he's already back in the game. He was just safe.
Oh, okay.
He's already sent Bowie to the nether region, and she got, like, a punishment of some sort, but I don't know
Okay.
exactly what that was. And I think now Bowie is going to send Matt to the nether region, and he won't be there for the live eviction. And that way, that's taking an extra vote away from Riley.
Riley.
That's
Okay.
sort of the plan right now. Things are unfolding so fast in the house, and
Yeah.
all throughout class, I've been, like, on my phone. Okay, what are the updates?
I
What are
know.
the updates?
Well, every time I do it, because being on the East Coast in the house on the West Coast, I'm always like, turn it on, and it's,
Yeah.
the night vision cameras, and everybody's asleep. And then, I'm eating lunch, and then it's like everybody's just waking up, and we got some workout time, and they're making breakfast. And by the time, like, that they get, like, rocking and rolling into their day, I'm off to bed here.
Yeah, no, very true. But I did
What I
find
should do, though, is, because I do get up so early, I should start getting up. I should back it up a little earlier and get up when it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, like midnight out there, 1 a.m., because that's when the good convos happen.
well,
Like the
yeah,
daytime stuff, it's
yeah, it's a snooze fest. But don't do that to yourself. You can just go on Twitter and we can recap it here. But get that extra hour of sleep.
yeah, okay. No, not during a Big Brother season, right?
I
There,
did I noticed one thing that's so interesting. So before BB22, um, I don't know where the statistic exactly comes from, but it has been put out there that the first HOH is 40% more likely to win the game. And that makes sense because they're like the people end up coming to them with
yeah.
information, with
Hmm.
propositions of alliances, etc. But since BB23, every first HOH has gone home pre-jury, and that will continue if Riley ends up going home this week. Like,
Yeah.
Frenchie got sent home the week after his HOH, Daniel got sent home a couple weeks after his HOH, and now Riley. So I wonder why the switch? Or is it
Yeah.
just
Well, I think somebody saw the statistic on Twitter, and the next season when they were in the house, they were like, I don't want to watch.
get rid of them? Yeah. Well, I mean, granted, Frenchie, chaotic, just such a chaotic person and player. Daniel is Daniel. But I just think that's an interesting like change in trend.
Yeah. Well, and I do appreciate that there is, you know, a trend and a shift in the game, because it doesn't just sort of secure you. It's like, as a strategy, I want to be the first HOH. I'm going to get all this knowledge. I'm going to build all these relationships. I'm going to set myself up for this. And now players are saying, "Oh no, you're not. You're going to be very quickly out the door."
Yeah, so I wonder if that's because ever since BB16 with Derek throwing the first HOH and him kind of starting the whole like, "Oh, I don't wanna be looked at as too big of a threat," um, more and more players have thrown that first HOH, but I think if Riley goes home this week, in future seasons, no one's gonna wanna win that first HOH.
Nope. I
Yeah,
think you're right. I love
yeah.
that insight. Well,
Mhm.
make sure that you smell nice like Kirsten, everybody, and make sure that the nether regions are cleaned. And we will join you again for another secret alliance as we dig into the world, the multiverse of Big Brother season 25. Oh, I'm not. Oh, there I vanished. There's too much fun to be had with these.
I
Go get
know.
your own little virtual background and have fun, everybody.
In the
Thanks,
nether.
Hannah. We'll see you next time.
Bye, Jason. Thank you.